Welcome to another episode of TSW. Today we are going to discuss about board games. Yes, board games. You heard that right because remember those old days where we used to sit together as a family, play games and have a lot of fun. I have great memories of my childhood playing Ludo, Snake and Ladder, Rajamantri Chor Sipahi, books, uh, cricket, and lots more. So today I'm joined by an exciting guest who is going to share about his new board game. But we'll also discuss about entrepreneurship. We'll also discuss about films, use of AI in films, streaming wars, and lots more. So stay tuned. So Darshan, from what I understand, is like I saw your profile, like you're multi-hat. You're wearing lots of hats and everything, right? You are a storyteller. You are an aspiring filmmaker as well. So I'm really curious about your personal journey. Can you just give me a brief overview of what you have been doing so far?
Well, I've been lucky and fortunate to kind of be at the right place at the right time, I guess. So I've primarily dabbled across sports, media, and entertainment industries. Uh, if I look back, I started my career in media with print and then moved to television.com. I was in vindia.com. This is way back in 1999, when dot com boom yet hadn't happened and
You said
there was no
India.com.
vindia.com of Channel V's .com
Which is
division.
sorry.
Uh, and then I moved to television. I did a bit of TV. Then I wanted to launch my own television channel. So I did a small community specific channel called Channel Cook in Cook, trying to see if, micro community content works. Obviously, it was way ahead of its time. So lost a lot of money, learned a lot of lessons. And then I moved to the sports industry. Again, this was early days of sports marketing. Um, there were very few people in the business, unlike today. So I used to head a company called Globosport, which was started by Mahesh Bhupti. Um, did that for about a year. Then I started on my own. I used to organize marathons. I created one of India's first international marathons called Lipton Bangalore International Marathon back in 2005. Then I created the world's first midnight marathon, a race that gets flagged off at 12 midnight, which still happens in Bangalore. Um, so I did a bit of sport. Then I moved to the agency side. I was with Group M. I used to head sports marketing for them. And then IPL happened. BCCI launched IPL, and we were advisors to BCCI. So got to work closely in the inception of IPL, helped the Deccan Chronicle family win the bid for the Hyderabad team, helped in team selection, all of that. And like you remember, the team was great on paper, but it ended up coming last. Uh,
Which team you
so then
said? Sorry.
the Deccan Chargers IPL
Was
team.
Adam Gilchrist was the captain at the time, right?
No, that time it was VVS Lakshman. And
Okay.
then after the first year, after coming last, I got the opportunity to lead the team. So I became the CEO, and which is when we changed the captain, the coach, the uniform, the logo. I totally revamped the team, and that journey. I've even written a book on that journey called
Good.
Zero to Hero.
Oh, I'd
So
love to check that out. Like, it's
yeah,
amazing.
it's available on Amazon called Zero to Hero. It chronicles the journey of the IPL team from last to going and winning the league that year. So we won the IPL, and then the company board felt IPL was too small a role, so then they promoted me to run the group. So I was back to media again, and I was running the newspaper. We launched Bangalore edition, Coimbatore edition, Kochi editions. I did a bit of expansion, but then that um, desire to go back to sport still remained. So I tried my hand at entrepreneurship again and launched a racing league on the lines of IPL, where multiple teams were going to race representing different cities. And that venture bombed, lost millions of dollars, and pretty much came onto the road and kind of scaled back from there. But I've done a lot of sports businesses after that. We did a business where we managed athletes so like Saina Nehwal, all of them. Then I had a sports travel company called Sporty Trip. Then we had a clothing brand I launched with Milan Soman called Devi, which was a yoga wear brand, organic, fair trade, sustainable. Um, I even co-produced the Saina Nehwal biopic. Uh, so with Parneet Chopra, which we actually started with Shraddha Kapoor, and then we had to reshoot it with Parneet.
That's an
So
amazing resume to have. Nobody can, like, I don't know anyone in my proximity who has this kind of diverse and such a rich experience. So,
just being
as an
lucky.
like, someone as a solopreneur or as an entrepreneur, I don't know what to call myself, at the moment. But I just want to understand, like when you said it, like you said it in a go that it was so like you said like in a very light manner that that you lost money, right, and everything. So I still don't have that kind of appetite for risk. And I'm sure a lot of people, and especially I'm like I'm that sandwich generation where I would raise my kid, also take care of my parents. So I want to understand from you, like you have been on the spectrum of success. You have seen the highs, you have seen the lows, right? And it's just out of curiosity, I want to understand when it how do you handle the lows of it? I know highs are like where you are on the cloud nine, right? There's nothing to, but how do you, when you know that it's gonna, I think a lot of people have this gut feeling that is gonna not succeed, and then how do you build that kind of appetite for risk?
Well, see, honestly, you can never be prepared for failure. You know, nobody wants to fail, nobody plans to fail, right? And we all start off thinking we're going to be successful, but failure is the other side of the coin, right? You're not going to win every match you play. If you ask me, how do you manage it? There is there is no easy way out. The only way out of the mess is to walk through it, right? And if you're lucky to have a supportive family partner, then it's easier. Like in my case, I've been fortunate. My wife stood through all the fire and trouble and the rain uh, and was there to encourage me to look at how far we've come, right? So, but you have to swallow the pill. You have to go through it, and only then you will be able to get out. Uh, if you try to back away, then it's like one of those life's lessons that'll keep coming back till you learn it, right?
So, someone like, and I'll be honest with you, like, I feel very frightened, the moment the idea of, not having an income, not to be able to support or sustain. I know that family is going to support me and everything is there, right? But still, like, as a person, you want to be able to be the person, you want to keep the household running, right? And at the same time, you have this ambition, you have like, for instance, this project is one of part of what I want to do, like, and everything. But at the same time, there is a lot of fear, right? I get easily scared, maybe because of the way I was raised, because my father he was always working. He was a 9 to 5 job, right? He did a job, right? So he always put in my mind that being an entrepreneurship is not a cup of tea. It's risky. These are the, and also the how maybe the atmosphere has changed where being a founder or so-called a startup or business is not looked down upon so much. But I carry that still, the legacy of that stigma, right? So it's very inspiring, and I'd love to, I'd definitely, take a note of it, and keep it as a pin that, it's a swallow pill you have to swallow. Right?
It is all first generation entrepreneurs go through that what you're going through. It's just that your desire for doing something should be greater than the fear, right?
Correct.
That's all it is. Because I think what you should fear most is a regret, maybe 10 years later, saying, "What if I had gone all out?"
True,
Right?
true,
Uh,
true.
it's better
Exactly.
to find out and fail than not finding out at all.
Also, one more question related to it. I know we didn't, like, I didn't think of all these things in advance, what asking, but I got very curious. So when, of this, like this very one thing. about human psychology, I want to ask. When what happens is when things are not going your way, you find to you tend to pin blame on XYZ things. So how do you like become so self-aware that okay, to own up a mistake, okay, this is my mistake, this is where I goofed up, or this is where I should have done not taken A path, if I would have taken the B path, I would have done better. But you know what happens is like as a tendency is like, okay, you know what, this thing did not support me, or this XYZ, the time was not right, and find external factors to blame for failures. So how do you get to that kind of self-awareness and that kind of uh, you understand what I'm asking, right?
Yeah. So actually, it's a matter of practice, right? So if you make it a habit to kind of deconstruct everything, including your victories and your failures, right? Saying what went right for you this time, and can you repeat it, right? Similarly, what went wrong this time, and can you ensure that you don't repeat it, right? It's like sport, right? You can't win every match you play, but when you go play the game, and if you won, can you come back and deconstruct it rather than just celebrating that you were a hero? Figure out what worked, what are the factors that helped you win, and see how you can repeat it. Similarly, every time you lose, you try and identify what were those factors, right? And how do you ensure that you don't repeat it? And it's just a matter of practice, because if it's the first time, well, then you're all shaken up, but then in life you will keep stumbling and you will keep getting up, and the difference between people who make it and don't are the ones who are learning from the mistakes.
Okay, great. Also, I just want to ask you, like, you are multi-talented, like, you have so many things you have done, right? So, which is your favorite one? Which is where you feel like I was at my best, I enjoyed it 100%? Or is it like all you were there, jack of all
I,
trades?
I enjoyed each and every journey that I've done, because see, in the end I'm a creator, right? And creating something out of nothing gives you a kind of a high and a pleasure that is hard to describe. And as you go in life, at that, see, when you're doing something, you're invested 100% in that, so you're enjoying that journey. Then you take another path, you're going on another journey, right? It's it's hard to kind of say which one's the best. It's not like that was breakfast better than lunch or dinner better than breakfast, right? Breakfast is good on its own. It's like a sunrise or a sunset. Both are beautiful, right? You don't think one is better than the other.
So, you've also ventured into sports and everything, right? So, how, like, I want to understand, like, when you started thinking about working on a board game, right? So I just want to understand, like, how did that transition happen? How did your thought process went from real life sports or like outdoor sports to, to better put it? So how did you that thought process came? Like, I want to understand.
Well, actually, this was totally not related to sport. It What I started noticing is that everybody around me is spending way too much time on the screens. You know, you walk into a restaurant, you see four people on the table, but they're not talking to each other. They're just watching their mobile phones. Families are not spending time with each other. Uh, at work, I started realizing you walk into large buildings, you don't know the person in the elevator, you don't know the person in your building anymore, right? So I was like, can we get people back together again, right? uh, because COVID kind of isolated all of us, and now we're so used to it. In the past, we wouldn't be doing this on Zoom. We would have probably met in person, but COVID kind of accelerated a lot of online meetings, which is great. You don't waste money on jet fuel and pollute the air, but I think people have stopped being doing stuff in real life. Everything's on the screen, right? Uh, you order food, you order groceries, even jewelry now. This last Dhanteras was sold more on quick commerce than on jewelry store. People didn't even go to the jewelry store to buy gold. They ordered it on their mobile, right? So I was like, can we get people to get back together, to connect, right? I was talking to a young colleague in Mumbai. He was from Delhi, and he stayed in a building with 17 houses. And I asked him, how many of those people do you know? He says, none. And I was like, if you had made an effort to meet or probably hosted a game night in your house, if not all 17, at least 10 of them would have been your friends. Somebody would have given you home cooked meal. Somebody would have taken care of you when you fell ill, right? But sitting on your mobile and scrolling is actually isolated you. So, which was the kind of inception of can we build something to get people to meet, mingle, and that kind of translated into a board game.
I want to understand, like, what are the board games you played when you were a kid? Like, do you remember? Did you play Ludo? Maybe.
We played all games. I mean, Chinese checkers, chess, Ludo, Scrabble, Monopoly, right? We used to play a lot of board games as kids. Snakes and ladder. I think every kid starts with snakes and ladder first, right?
Mm.
And somehow I think today's generation need it more than ever, and not just kids. I think all of us, even adults, right? I think uh, at least in my office now, I've told them Friday evenings you have to play board games. At least you see friendly banter, you see people arguing, fighting. At least there is some interaction. Otherwise, people don't even know who's in the other department.
True. So yeah, true. Like, if I see that the screen time of my, like, we had TV basically, and we watched just black and white Doordarshan for the longest time. And but we played a lot of outdoor sports and also indoor sports. We would make up a lot of things. Like, I don't know if you remember, there was something called Rajamantri Chor Sipai, where we used to write numbers behind and we had to guess the guy. So we used to have, like, play all this. Even we could play book ke piche we would write play cricket. Just flip the
With
page and that would be your score, and you will just keep adding. If the zero comes, then you are out. Right. So we played so many things, right? And when I look at my the kid and maybe their friends and everyone, they are much more into watching a lot of TV, a lot of and because of YouTube, right? The access to a lot of content, global content is there, right? So for them to make them sit and just say that, hey, this is also fun, not just the fancy things you see. So it's yeah, it's a great thing also. Can you also help me understand, like, what are the, like, when we'll get to the product, but I want to understand what are the, like, before, while designing the product, okay, the games and everything, what were the influence, like, in terms of design, maybe, or features? What were the inspirations which you took?
So the game is actually called Mighty Mumbai. Okay, so it's kind of my homage to the city of Mumbai. Because when I look at Mumbai, even for the first time when I went when I was really young to now, I always found it as a city. It's like the city of dreams. People with dreams across the country come to Mumbai. They come to fulfill their dreams. People come to become actors or become cricketers. Somebody wants to be the next Ambani. Somebody wants to be the next Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Right? It's like the place where dreams come true. You see so many rags to riches story. You see all the actors say, I used to stay in this one room with six people, and then he got a break after struggling. And you read so many stories. I slept in the railway station, right? And so many people who went and made their life also in Mumbai. It's like going to America, right? For India it was going to Mumbai, right? So I said, let's celebrate Mumbai, and let's build a game around Mumbai. So the whole inspiration was the city, and how dreams can come true in the city, right? And
Can
we
can you
built the game.
also, sorry, can you also, like, explain the gameplay, like, इसमें होता क्या है, like, what happens in the game?
So the game's very simple. You play has these characters who go to the city. So, like, this is the game, okay, and you have all these characters, uh, which basically is an actor, a cricketer, a real estate tycoon, or a businessman, or a stock market guru, or a media executive. So you choose one of these characters, which are all headquartered in Mumbai, and you play as that character. So you come to Mumbai and you have to navigate yourself through Mumbai. It has two circles, the outer rat race and the inside fast lane, right? So how do you get out of the outside lane and get into the inner lane is the game, and which is kind of how life also is, right? You if you go want to make it in life, you need great mentors, you need good connections, you need to be at the right place at the right time, and the game is also very similarly, it's a reflection of life. So if you get the right amount of connections, the right milestones you achieve, you'll get into the inner game. So it kind of teaches you what you need to be successful in real life too.
So, who should play this game? Is it for grown-ups like us, or like for kids or grown-up parents can play with their kids? Is
It's
there
something
something
that
which we should know?
8 plus is the age that we start. But actually, we recommend families to play together. So you should be playing it with your kid. Uh, Offices, colleagues. I mean, we did play testing in gaming cafes. We did play testing with offices. We went to people who we didn't know in the office, just had game. And in all the offices we played, receptionists used to come down and say, "Guys, quiet down, please," because they are screaming, shouting. It was like so much fun. So it's a. I think it's for everybody to play, but I think young adults would enjoy it more because
Okay,
they
and
will also relate to it when they play.
so once the game is complete, what are the key like, what are the key takeaways a player would have? Like, what are the sense of accomplishment, or what are the things in terms of value it will add for
See,
for people who are playing?
see, one is obviously entertainment is the sole purpose of playing a game, but like I said, there are life lessons to be learned if you really understand. So, like getting a good CA, getting a good lawyer, all of that, which most people don't do properly in the beginning. They try to, go stingy on it, and that affects them later, right? It also teaches them about investments. If you buy something in the outer circle and later in the game, how it'll give you rewards back. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but I think those are what I would call bonus, right? The basic what you actually get is camaraderie, fun. It'll take you a good 2 hours to play the game, so it's good 2 hours without having to look at your mobile and play with your friends and family and have a good time.
I think that is beautiful because pure entertainment where the families can sit and just talk and have fun for a couple of hours is great. I think it's a good proposition to have also. So also, like, I want to ask, like you said, it's an O to Mumbai and everything. And so how much of this is inspired by, or there is something from your own personal experience, or has is there some real life influence in this? Like, what are the, if there is some anecdotal you want to talk about?
Not too many in this because I've just tried to bottle the whole life's journey into it, right?
Mhm.
Of how you come to a place and then how you build your life. So we've just tried to capture that essence of the game into it.
So can we also expand upon the thought of, we briefly touched upon that, people are not getting together and just so why do you think that this is something problem that is happening? There is a lot of disconnect within families or kids. Do you think it's a larger issue that has to be addressed? Maybe board game is could be one of the things to do this, but I really wanted you to expand on that thought. Like, do you see the disconnect is happening much more? The disconnect is deeper now in our society.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I think it's a bigger pandemic than COVID itself. Social isolation leads to depression, leads to a lot of things. A lot of people commit suicide. It's all because they're just not talking to people. They're not connected, and increasingly in large cities like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, there are a lot of migrant population. People who come there for work, so they don't have friends, family. They're living by themselves. And if they don't make an attempt to socially connect with other people, it's only going to become dangerous, right? We're all living in our own cocoon, stuck to the mobile phone 24/7, endlessly scrolling and liking stuff, but we're not even having physical contact with other people. We're not meeting people. We're not chatting. Even when you go out, everybody's stuck on the phone. Um, and because we live in a connected world, we actually have to disconnect to connect. I see people going on holidays only to take pictures to put on Instagram. They're not
Oh,
actually enjoying the holiday. They're sorry, they're only bothered about what they're going to put on social media. It's a very big problem. Is the board game a solution to this problem? I don't think it's such a big solution, but it's a start. At least, even if once a week you take out, you create a game night at your home, and you decide the whole family will play this game, what come what may, right? It's that 1 2 hours of quality family time. Similarly, in offices, similar. So we've kind of now planning to roll out uh, in multiple cafes. We'll start having game days, game nights, game brunches, so people can come meet strangers and play with them, make new friends over a board game. You know.
mhm. So, like in your own personal life, like I want to understand how much technology has helped you throughout your career. And since we all are from that era of landlines and, where, just calling, the phone meant just calling, so we all have seen the transition from a huge transition and maybe at a pace where maybe it would have taken, if I compare it with my father's generation, throughout his prime, landline existed, and for us, the transition happened way too quickly. From landlines to feature phones to smartphones. Now, within smartphones, now there is AI. There is so many things are happening. So, how do you see technology? The importance of technology. Of course, we see the cons of it as well, where we see that there's disconnect. There is a lot of isolation happening according due to this also. But what are the how do you see it? Like, do you see it as an enabler, or what are the ways to navigate through it?
See, technology is like fire, right? You can either get warmth from it, you can use it to cook, or else you can get burned through it, right? So it's up to us how we use technology. Now, obviously technology is useful in a million ways, but too much of anything is bad, right? Even too much of water can kill you, too much of love can kill you, so too much of technology also is dangerous. So you should know how to balance, how to disconnect. It is as it's like at least personally, I try and make it a point not to look at my phone soon as I wake up, right? I go for my morning walk, I finish all of that, and when I'm ready to leave work is when I open WhatsApp and all of those things, because otherwise, your me time is totally gone, because there's always somebody wanting something in a hurry, somebody wants something urgently. So
And I think because I was just watching one of the interviews where I think one of the actors was saying because of phones, things, small things like, okay, so someone has texted, if the person has seen the message but he has not replied, or they have not replied, so now you are constantly thinking why the person has not replied. My urgency is not their urgency, right? And then there is just there is so many different things which we are experiencing through this, right? And it's amazing. Like, and also I want to understand, like, how to ensure that the like for my daughter, I want to like make her understand. Okay, okay, internet is a big universe, right? There are good things, there are bad things, and how do I ensure that her exposure is minimal? So these are the kind of things where we are also struggling because the kid is seeing us also on the phone all the time, right? So the kid is curious, like, kuch to interest. There is something interesting happening over there, which is, nowadays, as you rightly said, they go to meeting, and most of the time they're not even making eye contact, right? And for me also, like I can't say that I'm like 100% like into the moment. Also, I'm not looking at my phones. But yeah, in peripheral or sometimes, but it takes a lot of time to just even put the phone upside down during a conversation and be in that moment. So also before we move on to another things, I want to understand your thoughts on artificial intelligence, because this is the next frontier where I think a lot of entrepreneurs, filmmakers, writers, creative people, all of the spectrum of all the working communities now have to deal with some sort of AI, right? And so I really wanted to understand, like, how do you see AI right now?
I'm excited about it. I think it's the future, and I'm so glad that it's come so quickly because it's kind of a level playing field. You know, otherwise it always felt like some people had access to typewriters, some had computers, and others were still sitting and writing with pen and paper. Right. So uh, this is a tool that kind of gives access to everybody. You know, it's not like you no longer need to have lots of money to buy lots of fancy softwares and equipment to do stuff. AI does a lot of things quickly, and especially for us creators, I think it frees a lot of the time that we waste on doing mundane stuff. You know, you can focus on sharpening your skills and focusing on that secret sauce that you bring to the project, and not on all the other you know fluff that is part of the project.
Would you be like an open to idea of using AI to design your new board game, or maybe new features, new characters? Would you be open to that idea, or do you want it to like pure like old school ways where there are creators and designers? Would you be open to using that AI for that?
No, I'm waiting for the day when AI is good enough to do that, because I think then a lot of ideas that I have can come to life much faster, and I am not slowed by the pace of my team.
This will such nowadays, now this is where territory where a lot of people get into trouble, saying.
No, see, a lot of times, see, because you know you want to do something, right? But you're limited by the teams that you're working with, whether it's internal team, external team. Uh, so sometimes you need technology intervention to come and make it happen faster. And AI is one of those tools. It really makes life far easier. Today, uh, when I see people, I give work for people I'm trying to hire. I see most of the people are actually submitting AI written work. It's not, they claim they are writers, but they've just taken from AI and given. But you can make out, who's written and who's used AI.
So, do you, for creative people, you have been into a lot of creative projects as well. Should people in creative industry, say artists, writers, journalists, maybe filmmakers, should they be threatened by AI?
If you're good at your work, no, you'll actually use AI to do better work. If you were not so good and you just somehow survived because people thought your task was really hard and they can't do it, then you have to be worried and threatened. You should definitely feel threatened. But if you're good at what you do, you will actually embrace AI and you'll do far better work,
Mm-hmm.
because it's an enabler in the end. If you remember when digital photography came and suddenly camera mobiles came and all the
True.
photographers felt threatened that this is not photography, you have to do it old school way, the original way. Similarly, if you look at the music industry, when DJs came and when electronic music used to be created on a laptop, uh, you didn't need one whole band and an orchestra and stuff like that. People said that's not music, but it doesn't mean that music is died, right? You still have the DJs of the world, you still have live performers, you still have the orchestras. If you're good, you would know how to use technology. It's the same with AI.
So that's a great perspective on AI, and I think this is something very unique which you have said, and pretty insightful as well, because more people, either people are on the either they dislike AI, or either they are on board with AI, like all the way with AI, right? But yeah, it's right to have, like, I think it's more of an empowering tool as I see it right now. And as you said, also, I think a lot of things, even for creative purposes, I see a lot of tools now that they're there. Maybe not very good, but for instance, say if I want to generate a storybook, right? I just one of the dreams is to write a book for, like, children के adventure book I have to want to write.
You
So
can
I would
write it on
start,
ChatGPT.
yeah, yeah, right. But I also want to, like, have a, like, a very look and feel to it, like a comic book, old school comic book. If you've read Raj comics, or I don't know, or those comics, I'm like, I really want to create some artwork, but like, I don't know the animation, I don't know all these things. I know the script is
Soon
ready,
there
but
will
the
be a
second, sorry.
soon there will be an AI tool where you can just give your inputs and the cartoon
Yeah,
will come
so
out.
so the tools are there, but it's not perfect. Maybe over the years it will get better in next couple of years, and maybe doing that will be easier. But then I realize if I will be able to do it, then everybody will be able to do it. So, like, there will be much more. The competition will be higher, right, in terms of
True.
delivering that. So that is one of the thoughts which I was, just thought. Coming back to the board game, like we talked about what it is, right? And the objective of it is also we discussed. But the next thing which I'm really interested to understand, how do you market it? Like, how do you promote it? Like, is it do you plan to sell it on, say, all these e-commerce platforms, quick commerce platforms, or is it just for pure, a very D2C, like a concept where people come to your website and then buy it?
No, we're already there on Amazon and Flipkart and also JioMart. We'll soon be on all the quick commerce sites also, and we're also in talks with Hamleys, Toys R Us, all of them. So it's going to be available everywhere that board games are available.
Mhm. And do you also plan to, like, expand this universe, say, the Mighty Mumbai, like, build a franchisee? There is version one, there is a sequel to it, or there is a storyline behind it, an animation to look refer to on, say, on YouTube, or have a folklore, so how do you cultivate an entire universe on this board game universe?
So we have some plans. We are actually working on a music video anthem for Mighty Mumbai. We're also currently developing another board game for Bangalore City, which is very,
Mhm.
very different from the Bombay game. So, so there are plans to do different cities, different states, more board games on the pipeline.
Can you also talk about, like, music festivals which we talked about, right? So, like, recently we see, like, we saw Diljit's concert across India. We saw Coldplay. So clearly there is a huge market for it, and in the startup universe we saw, Zomato also making foray into this. There is a ticketing like this. There is also big stream for music festivals. So how do you plan to, what are your plans? What are you doing in that sector? It will be great to discuss.
So, as always, I'm adding my own touch to the music industry also. So, we are creating a festival called Sonic Tiger.
Mhm.
Sonic Tigress is the world's first all women music festival. So, all the performers are going to be women, and tickets are also sold only to women. So, you and I can't attend it.
If and any particular reason to have just, like, women only, like, I kind of get it why this would be, like, safety
Uh,
and also
m-
more of an
most
empowerment point of
women,
view, but
yeah, so most women we spoke to were kind of the opinion it was high time something like this was built
mm,
because there's actually no space for women, which is women only kind of space,
mm,
globally men have men's lounges, men's club, all of that. In India, somehow women have been limited to a kitty party circuit. There's nothing beyond it. There is no place where women can go feel uh, one with another, bond with their friends, not be bothered about what they wear, how much to eat, how much to drink, do what they want, right? Be in a non-judgmental, free, chilled out space. So when I was actually talking to an artist friend of mine called Nikita Gandhi, she sings a lot of Bollywood songs, and in the brainstorming, she was saying there was nothing like this, and we said, why don't we create something like this? And so she's kind of leading the the baton here, saying let's build something for women, and we're supporting her and building it. So we're doing it in Bangalore, the first edition on the 29th of March. But this is a property that we want to take across the country, probably towards the end of this year. We will take it to another city and do edition two. So this is a project that we are very, very passionate about, and I think has a lot of scope. And we'd love to take it international too.
Mhm. So, what are the basic challenges are there? Like, if someone wants to do what you are doing, what are the first hurdles are there? Like, the talent pool is a problem, or managing talent pool, or finding them and having them work together, or the infrastructure, logistics. What are the key hurdles at the moment in India?
A lot of it, actually, I think talent pool is the basic problem. I mean, for instance, we're trying to build this all women festival. I'm struggling to find a woman light designer. There is no light engineer, which is a woman in this country. Um, Sound engineers, we found a few. So some specialized uh, fields, women still haven't been able to make a breakthrough. It's not because uh, I'm sure there are women who want to do it. Maybe they didn't get opportunities, but we hope that platforms like ours will encourage, give them more opportunities to kind of build it. So I think, yeah, talent pool is a big problem, and the remaining rest challenges, I think, is there in every business.
Mhm. So, from what I understand, like, a lot of jobs, say, I think opportunities, they tend to not hire women also for those kind of roles. So, for one example I know is like for administrative tasks, usually they prefer men for that, because in my family I know someone who she was applying for all these admin jobs, and at certain point she was there, but for the senior roles she was not considered because this was just understood to be like, it's a man's job, right? So it's a great initiative which you are taking. And also, so what are the right now, what are the projects you are involved into, apart from board game, of course, music festival? What are the
Yeah.
other things which you're working out there at the moment?
Other than Mighty Mumbai and Sonic Tigers, we are working on a few television shows currently. I can't share too much information on them at this moment, but they are television shows that is multi-part series that will come on linear and connected TVs
On OTTs, right?
on OTTs. Yes.
So, what is your take on the impact of OTTs? And this is something that everybody, the entire industry, is discussing. I'm not an expert in entertainment industry, but I understand tech. I understand its impact. So, since pandemic, we have seen this transition, and then there is a lot of discussion that the footfalls to cinema is dwindling, right? And even me, like I used to be a big movie buff. I used to go to on. I remember like going almost every other Friday to watch a movie in theaters, right? And I think in last couple of years, I might have watched maybe two or three, and that too after maybe some of the hype movies, like say Bulbulaya and all these. So do you see a tectonic shift where there is the traditional conventional way of watching films is it will be, how do you see the transition happening right now? What is your view?
See, my personal opinion is that the movie halls have actually brought this upon themselves. They made it so expensive that if you're a large family, if you're a family of three, four people, you need to have close to 5, 10,000 rupees to go watch a movie. Uh, popcorn is sold for 700 bucks, 800 bucks. Uh, Pepsi is sold for two, three, 400 bucks. Why? I mean, why do you make it so expensive? Other than like I know in Tamil Nadu and in Telangana, there are government rates fixed. You can't sell tickets above 150. Those places, cinemas are thriving. People go to every cinema hall. It's full because it's affordable. People have are going to watch a movie to forget the problems in their life. But if going to a movie itself is the problem, if it's going to cause such a big hole in your pocket, why would you go? Right? Then you're happy watching it at home, watching it on your mobile, on your TV, rather than spend that kind of money. Because they made it so expensive and unviable, they kind of outplace themselves. So, like you said, until unless it's a really big hype movie and you want to see it in a big screen, you'll you'll it's like going for a Coldplay concert. If Coldplay was performing every week, would you go and watch it? You won't. It's because it's once in a lifetime kind of an opportunity. You're willing to spend that extra buck, make that effort to travel. Movies is becoming like that. That if it's special, I will go. Otherwise, I won't go because it's too expensive. So I think they have to wake up and smell the coffee. They have to come back to the good old days where the front row is cheap, like 100, rupees. You can have a balcony, a box, all of that things that we grew up where you can have your premium. But I think they should make it affordable, and only then it'll come back.
That is a great observation because in my mind, I also started calculating. It's just not popcorn. It's just not drinks that are costly over there, right? Everything from parking my car. If I'm going with a
Mm.
family of four, right? I'm parking my car also. I'm just and there is then all this food, just and now you
Tickets
want
are
to.
also expensive.
Yeah, tickets have become expensive. And now I think I keep seeing, that 99 rupees and 100 rupees. But I think it's a bit late for course correction, I guess, because a huge dent has happened because of OTTs. And and in my mind also, you know what, like if I missed a movie, say for a movie recently came, right, and I kept thinking, should I go and watch it? Because one of my friends was saying, oh, let's go watch Akshay Kumar. He did very well and all that. But then I kept thinking, okay, I will just wait it out for a couple of months, let this pass on, and then I'll watch it on, say, Netflix or Amazon. So there is this mindset also. It will come to the OTTs anyway, right, in couple of months or 3 months. So, so do you think that, and also, and on, to be very honest, on Netflix and Amazon and maybe other global streaming platforms, say Apple TV and all, they have great content. And even if I want to watch, say, Hindi content, like, or any content which is in my own language, right? It's not necessarily I'm gonna watch something that is made out of say, typical Bollywood stuff, right? I would rather watch, say, Patal Lok. Maybe I'll watch the Hindi dubbed version of, say, I loved the movie, say, Maharaj. I forget the actor's name, but that Maharaj was a very good movie. I really liked it, and then I watched it in dubbed other version of it. But but there is this, this the entire my consumption habits have drastically evolved, in a way. I don't want to say change because it's more of an evolution. Do you see at some point, like, just a more of a hypothetical question, where do you see that content premiering on OTT and then releasing it on cinema halls?
I think it's highly unlikely because once you've seen it, uh, going, why would you go and spend more money?
So
When you
it's like,
once
do you think, like, say there is a movie like Interstellar, right? People would want to watch it on big screens like Avatar, right? They would want to watch it on larger screens, right?
yeah, but if you've seen it in a small screen, you won't even realize how big and how impactful it is. So, which is
Correct.
why they kind of release it in the big screen, and then f- they try to
Mm-hmm.
get extra milk out of it by releasing it on OTT.
So you are
See,
closer in the proximity of that industry as well, right? So what is the conversation in the industry? Say the impact of, say, OTTs, tech in general. Do you see it using AI? Like I recently read an interview where Ram Gopal Verma said that he is gonna use AI for music, right? And do you see that AI being an other kind of technology getting more integrated in filmmaking?
Yeah, I think very soon AI will be used to make films in a big way. Already, people are using it for bits and pieces. There are some very popular movies which most people don't know that certain parts of the movie the actor was not actually available, and they use technology to cover up. Right? So those kind of stuff is going to come, and I'm looking forward to it because again, it's an enabler. It helps you make stuff far easily. And what's if you ask specifically about OTT, uh, see when the OTT boom happened during COVID, when people started consuming, it actually gave a lot of small filmmakers chance to showcase their work. Otherwise, earlier they were never getting chance to release the movie because the screens are limited and the big movies took all the screens available. Smaller filmmakers never got a chance to release. So a lot of people actually got a chance to release their movie, get audiences to watch their movie using OTT. But now again, OTT players are losing money. They're not making, so there is consolidation. Some of the smaller players will die, and it's kind of going back to pre-COVID days, where again only the big filmmakers are getting their films on air, and OTTs have also stopped spending too much money on acquiring content.
I think that is all I wanted to, discuss about things. And is there anything else which you think that we did not discuss and we want to discuss talk about it?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much for taking out time, and it was a lovely conversation. We talked about board games, we talked about personal life, success, failure. It was a wide conversation, and I would love your time to discuss, entrepreneurship and maybe more of a from a very personal angle at some point. But
Definitely.
like how to deal with it. And thank you so much for having this conversation. It was lovely to have you over here.
It was a lovely meeting you, and look forward to catching a coffee in real life soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much.